Hello there, and welcome back. Today, in our 31 days of calming tips, I'm going to be talking about the importance of staying connected. Now, I think for all of us who lived through COVID, who lived through a global pandemic, we understand how hard it can be and how challenging it can be to be isolated. If you went through breast cancer treatment through COVID, I've heard from many people that it felt even worse. It felt so isolating to not have the support of a loved one while you were going through radiation or chemo or surgeries. And I know my very last surgery was during COVID, and that was removing my breast implants that I've had for reconstruction. And I removed them to go flat because of breast implant illness and capsular contracture. And I know how that felt. And I know that that was nothing compared to the hours and hours of people who had spent time in the chemo chair without the benefit of company. So I just want to acknowledge that, right? First of all, going through COVID and then going through breast cancer. And I think that what I often see is many of us, and I include myself in this, tend to isolate ourselves, especially after treatment has ended, because we get the feeling that everybody else is thinking, okay, well, you're done. Come on, get on with life. And you might not be feeling that way, right? I know I didn't. I remember sitting in my plastic surgeon's office, having my last follow-up visit after my surgeries. And, I've got that pink soft gown draped around my shoulders. My thighs are stuck to the crinkly white papers. I'm now having like the mandatory hot flash every time I go to the doctors. By the way, there's a link between hot flashes and anxiety and stress. Definitely figured that one out. But what she said to me was, Karen, everything looks great. I'll see you in 3 months. And myself and my husband had gone into this appointment. He sat in the corner expecting me to be excited, right? We talked about, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, you're done. We see online people ringing the bell and flags and balloons and all of this stuff. And I, in that very moment, started bawling my eyes out. Like, this really, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget how I felt that day, because I felt like the rug had just been pulled right out from under me. It was like all of the hand holding from our medical team that had taken me through this process. And now it was suddenly like, well, what do I do now? I was emotional. I was suddenly exhausted, aching from head to toe. I'd be lying in bed, not wanting to get out of bed, sometimes not able to put a sentence together. And my husband said to me, he thought at one point that I'd had a stroke, because I literally couldn't, the words that came out were gobbledygook. I would sit and look at my computer and be like, I know how to send an email. I've sent probably millions of them. I couldn't do it. But what happens is, because other people have got this expectation that we're done, we start to put that expectation on ourselves too, right? But the problem is, we're not told that the next stage of recovery starts after treatment ends. And what happens for so many of us, because we don't want to worry our loved ones, you might even feel like you've been a burden, right, and required more help than you ever have in your life before. So what do? We put on that mask, right, where we're saying to them, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But inside, we're not fine. we're exhausted, we're drained, we're dealing with all of these emotional and our emotions and the mental component of this disease are so complex, yet rarely talked about. But staying connected is one of the things, right? So what happens in our day-to-day life so often, and this is what I see happening, is that we kind of isolate ourselves with the feeling that other people just don't get it. I can remember Googling for me, is this normal? What's wrong with me? And it was then that I realized, hang on, Karen, you've got the tools. You know how to do this. Bouncing back after major trauma has been a theme in my life. I know how to do this, right? And so that was when I decided to shift my coaching practice to support you at this time too. When you feel like the rug's been pulled out of you in life and you just don't know what to do. And you're isolating yourself because nobody gets it. And it's not their fault that they don't get it, but we need, and I include myself in this, I knew that I had to reach out to people and find the right people who had been through this disease, who really understood it. And so I have my support system too. And that's not normal for me. I'm normally the person that can figure it all out on her own. But I knew, again, although I've been in therapy for years and especially after the traumas in my life. And I got a therapist. I also made friends online with people in this community who are like-minded, who are thinking the same way, who are looking to grow through this experience, right? And so this is the importance of staying connected, finding people who know. They may not know your story. They may not have been through your journey. All of our journeys are different. Chances are they haven't been, but they do understand some of these complex emotions and the mental aspect of this disease. And that is so crucial. And if you're there saying, okay, Karen, but how does this help calm me? How does this help me stay healthy? How does this help me lower my risk of recurrence? Right? You might be asking things like that. So I don't know if you have yet listened or watched, there's a show on Netflix right now. So if you have Netflix, I invite you to watch this show. It's called Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zones, and it's by Dan Buettner. Now, I've followed the Blue Zones for a very long time now, probably at least 15 years. And if you're not aware, Blue Zones are the areas in the world where people live to 100, not live to 100, but not just live, like they're living their life. They are healthy, they are vibrant, they are involved in their community, right? And so Dan goes around the world and he visits these 5 or 6 blue zones to look at what they're doing. How are they living their life? And it's a great show to watch because what you'll learn is the keys to living a healthy life, right? Yes, I can help share them with you. But I think it's really interesting to look at these and say, how are these areas living and what can you bring into your life? And one that all of them have in common is that they have social support. Now, it might be through family, but it's also through friends. But it's by a sense of community. And so if we want to be healthy, if we want to be calm, it's about finding the right people that you can connect with. And that's really important, that they're the right people. There's a saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you might be, if you're somebody that says, what lesson can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? I know there's more out there for me, especially after this. then you're somebody that needs to be in my tribe, right? So at least make sure that you're in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. I also have a free support group every month. There's many, many things that are free and then at different price points so that you get to work with me and be in my orbit too, right? So I invite you today, your calming action of the day is to connect or reconnect with one friend or family member that you haven't spoken to for a while. Doesn't matter if it's been a while and you feel awkward because you don't know what to say. Just pick up the phone, send a text, connect with somebody, or reach out to me, right? Connect with somebody. Because that connection is part of what helps keep us calm and grounded. Make sure it's the right person. Make sure it's not somebody that typically drains you, but somebody that fulfills you and tops you up. That's what we're looking for here. Okay. So let's end up today. Hand over heart, left hand, right hand on top, gently hugging your heart, connecting with yourself, right? Connecting with your inner self. And repeat after me, either out loud or in your head. You are loved. You are safe. I've got you. I love you. Have a beautiful day. Connect with somebody. And I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear. So if you're not following me on Instagram, it's Karin, Karin, Del, Del, 34. Send me a direct message. I'd love to know how you felt after you connected with somebody that you haven't spoken to for a while. Or if you would like me to be that person, then reach out on Instagram and say hi. Say hi. I love to connect with people who are in my orbit. That connection is so important to me, that human connection. Okay? Have an amazing, beautiful, connected, and calm day. Bye for now.